depth, where it's all about heart centered leadership, humanity, and the audacity to go after what matters. Here we choose courage over comfort, risk over routine, and true impact over applause. If you're listening, you're ready to lead with empathy, embrace the unknown, and lock a version of yourself that's bold enough to change the world. So let's lean in, let's lead, let's go for it. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend, amazing leader, amazing human, Scott Tremblett. And Scott is joining us today. I just want to give a bit of a shout out to him here. I've had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time with him, over the last few months, and Scott is certainly a person that puts the heart in servant leadership. And I speak a lot about heart-centered leadership and authenticity and vulnerability and how they are strengths in leadership. And Scott, you exemplify this as good or better than anybody that I've ever met. And I want to start by applauding you for that. And I want the listeners to really get to know who you are. So, why in the world of all the things that you could do, to make a living and provide for your family, why this?
Thanks, Trevor. No, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I think it's partially to do with me being a little bit crazy, I think. But no, in all honesty, it's very personal to me. So I struggled for many years with my own addictions, and I came from a completely different world than the world I'm in today. And I can get into more of those details, but in a nutshell, it's my addictions consume me. I had many attempts at getting on the right track, many treatment stays, and I was just trying to get my stuff together so I could get back to the life that I was leading. But it took me a lot of suffering to realize that those two worlds didn't mix. So what I needed was a new life. So I dedicated myself to a new way of life, and I went back to school. And we can get into the details, but got inspired and worked in the field for a number of years and led to opening Red Road and so on.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I mean, I know how hard it can be to be vulnerable, especially type A male. You're a big guy. I know you've accomplished a lot in your life. You work hard, but to share about that and to follow your path and your purpose, to be where you are and to take the leap and start Red Road. I know that it's a pursuit of passion and about helping others as well. And so, what kind of give the listeners a little bit, how did this come about, and how did it start? How did Red Road start?
So it all started with me being in treatment myself, and just the fast forward version is I got inspired. I went back to school, became an addictions counselor, and I worked my way up through the ranks at that treatment center till the point where I ended up running the treatment center that I actually got sober at.
Yeah.
And through a weird series of events, I always had the idea of kind of opening up our own treatment center. And I was invited into sweat lodges and ceremony and stuff, and it just kind of touched my heart. Like one of the things I kind of struggled with was finding something greater than myself, and I didn't like the word God, and I struggled with some of that kind of stuff early on. And you know through a series of serendipitous events, it's I saw a real path forward to blend evidence-based therapies like the biopsychosocial model of recovery with traditional indigenous cultural programming alongside of the 12 steps. And those serendipitous events continued to happen. I was blessed to meet one of my partners, Chris Cudmore, and he became a true friend and like a confidant, right? So I would like bounce stuff off of him, and it just kind of led to us partnering up and starting Red Road. And then he had a good friend of his, Wes Francois, which is he was a political member, chief and council for the Secwepemc Squalax Nation for over 30 years, and in recovery, both of them as well as myself. And Chris introduced me to Wes, and it just was like the perfect fit for what we were kind of, in my head, what I had seen as the vision. It was just kind of all just happening on its own. And then we found, we locked down the first location, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And what we did was we just kind of bootstrapped it, right? Just put it together ourselves, and then just started rocking. I had some connections in the treatment industry and also with the First Nations, and we just quickly outgrew that first location, and we knew we really wanted to focus on land-based healing, and we wanted to bring in some equestrian therapy. So we always had our sights set on acquiring a ranch, and we looked at another ranch, and another one of those serendipitous moments where the one that we had looked at didn't work out, but then we just kind of found this other one. We went to go check it out, and we stepped on the property, and it was just like, okay, this is the one, right? And so we went all in, and we set it up, did a major renovation, and we opened up that location. And yeah, it just grew from there. And one of the big goals we had was we wanted to bring public funding into the private sector. We never wanted to go to the public sector. We wanted to merge the two, as we saw that as a real path forward to remove barriers, and we succeeded. So we were allocated like 23 publicly funded beds through a CMHA grant, which is one of the largest ones. So we were allocated one of the most out of everybody in British Columbia, and then we succeeded with that goal of just kind of really providing that top quality care that's known to be found in the private sector, but for everyone, and then that was always kind of the goal. And then just to fast forward, that led us to our third location, and then that led us to a partnership with the Northern First Nation Alliance up in the Terrace region, which is the renovations are almost complete. We're opening up that facility in January, and led us to Williams Lake with the Silcotin National Government, and we partnered with them, and that's underway as well. And we're just getting started. We're ambitious, and we believe in what we're doing, and it matters to us. And so we're going to keep pushing forward, and just help as many people as we can. That always comes down to that one question I always ask myself when I don't know which path to take. Is I ask myself, and we ask ourselves, how can we help more people? And then when we put our emphasis on that, the right doors open. And I believe that's no accident. So I'm a big believer in we are where we are because that's where we're supposed to be, and I feel that we're exactly where we're supposed to be right now.
Well, and I love that you said that, Scott. And I'm a believer that the universe honors you doing the right thing. And oftentimes the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do. And I know, and that's why I led with you are certainly, you exemplify everything that's meaningful on this podcast. That, like, you lean into lead, and you really, really go to your heart first. And I like, there's a saying that I use, and I can't remember where I heard it, but do good to do good, right? I mean, you guys are out there, and your first reaction, first response, and even when you started sharing, you said one of the primary agenda items was to remove barriers, to try and remove as many barriers as possible to help people get help. And I think that's admirable. And I know that that's centric amongst all of your team and the people that you add. I know that's important to you all. And so I guess, what are some things that really make, you guys and girls and Red Road Recovery business different?
I think one thing the main thing that sets us apart is, you know, through my experience and my research, and just, being clients at different treatment centers, working in the field with different colleagues, I found that there was um, a lot of lack of better terms, like a nod to the culture, like just a nod to the culture is the best way I can put it, where we put a primary emphasis on all three facets of what we do, or the modality that we're kind of delivering. So we really dig deep into the clinical work, the biopsychosocial model, and just that really deep clinical work. But yet we put the same amount of emphasis on the cultural work, which is onboarding local elders from the local nations, respecting local traditions, doing sweat lodge weekly water ceremonies, medicine wheel teachings, arts and crafts with the elders, medicine picking, lots of land-based healing, and then alongside of the 12 steps, and because the 12 steps is part of my journey as well, and it's tried, tested, and true. So we actually take the clients through a set of steps as well. So I think one of the major things that sets us apart is that we put a primary focus on all three of those things, and it's working. We have a success rate that I'm happy with, but I'm always like we are always trying to increase and improve and achieve better outcomes. That's what we're all about. Is it goes back to what I said about how can we help more people, and that's like, how do we improve our quality of care and really get these people the help that they deserve and give them the life that they were always meant to have. So I'd say that would be.
I
Yeah.
I I love
That
that,
makes
and
any
I know
sense.
that you. Yeah, it does. Totally great answer, and thank you. I love, and I can say for sure that you guys have positively impacted a tremendous amount of lives, as an organization and Red Road, but also individually, because I know how much and how important this is, and how much time and energy you put into human beings, individually as well, and in your personal life. I want to ask you. So you have this idea, and you got a job, and you're having impact, and you're obviously really good at it, and you got a paycheck, and there's some perceived stability with that, and then you just come home, and you sit down at the kitchen table, and you're having a coffee, and you say, hey, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to do this thing. What's the family's reaction?
I'm blessed to have, my wife is in recovery herself. She's actually got a year more than me. So, I've got 8 years sobriety. She's got 9 years.
Yeah.
And she's just one of my biggest supporters, and she's all in, and she's part of the business, and
Yeah.
she knows what she signed up for with me, right? It's like, I live and breathe this. It saved my life. It's, I say it often, and I mean it when I say it, that I feel like I'm on borrowed time.
Yeah.
I feel like so many other people, makes me emotional.
Yeah.
Um,
Me too.
reminds me of all the people I've lost along the way,
Mhm.
and a lot of people from my past, like they looked at me like I was the one that was going to die, and I knew I was the one that was going to die, but yet others around me died and went to jail and different things, and somehow I survived, and that didn't make any sense to me until I started doing what I'm doing, and now it makes all the sense in the world because I understand now in my heart that the only reason I survived is to do what I'm doing today, and I'll never
Yeah.
forget that.
I love that. I think it's safe to say that addiction affects, either directly or indirectly, almost every person out there, or everybody knows somebody who suffers. I've certainly had a lot of it, in my life as well, and had my own struggles, and had to go and get some help, which I'm grateful for too. And when you talk about, your life was saved, and that whole feeling of being in it, and I often tell people, I had my moment on the bathroom floor where I woke up and changed my life, and I tell people it was my hell on earth. I was equally afraid to live and afraid to die at that moment, and thankfully, God, the universe, creator, whatever it is, the higher power, decided to save me. But I have lost loved ones as well, and people in my life. So this is near and dear to me. So thank you for being so vulnerable and so open with that, because I really believe that it's going to have a lot of positive impact to everybody listening.
Yeah, I don't mind share like I'm an open book. Like I said, like if anything I can say and do even helps one person, like it's almost like sounds like a cliche, but it's I mean that.
Yeah.
It's I have that similar story. Like I read your story, like I heard you talk about that time on the bathroom floor, and it's like I have a similar story where it's like after four trips to rehab, I had fallen off once again, and I was sitting in a room in my apartment in Kelowna, and I was at that point drinking about a 40-pound Ivanka a day, and I was basically just drinking to pass out, to wake up, to pass out, till I was just ready to die, and I'll never forget that night that I was on my knees and I was bawling my eyes out. And at the time, I thought I was atheist. I thought I didn't believe anything. And I remember pleading to anything that would listen to make it end. I couldn't kill myself, but I just didn't know any other way out other than to die. And I blacked out that night. And through a series of events, I ended up in a treatment center, and I've been sober ever since. And
And
uh, and to me, when I look back, there's a line in the big book that says, "In every man, woman, and child, the fundamental idea of God is within us all."
Yeah.
And for me, that statement rings true because even at times when I thought I didn't believe in a higher power, when I thought I was about to die or I was sitting in a jail cell not knowing how I got there, I would reach out and I would say, like, please just get me through this. Or like that night, I just pleaded, just make it end, right? And looking back, I think my prayer was answered, because I don't think, I know it was, because nothing else makes sense. Because I woke up in a treatment center and things had changed. I had a different perspective where I knew I couldn't go back, and I didn't know where I was going, but I just knew I couldn't go back, and I just started taking one foot in front of the other, and yeah, here I am 8 years later.
Yeah, yeah, and incredible. And I know that you've been a part of so many people's transformation since then. And when I had my moment, I've often shared too that I think I said the first real prayer of my life, and I said something very similar, Scott. It was, if you're out there, whatever you are, if you're truly there, help me get help or help me in my life, is what I said. And like immediately within one day, my life changed. I was kind of led down this path to a person that I'd never met the next day. And so, I can relate to that. And when you speak, I mean, I get emotional and sends shivers down my spine. And I just, I know that there's others out there suffering and going through what we were going through. And we are certainly some of the lucky ones here to be where we are. And it's remarkable, what you're doing, with your life, and how you've made this, a personal mission to go out there, and how you have taken the leap and started Red Road Recovery. And do you want to explain? I mean, the Red Road means something as well, and I will butcher it if I try to even kind of explain it, but I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, so like in a nutshell, to be on the red road in the Indigenous culture is to be in recovery, is to be walking a life of purpose, and to me that was just rang true. It just, to me, that's the road I'm on. And when we were kind of starting Red Road, I just said, like, Red Road Recovery would be a great name, but there's no way it's not taken, and it wasn't. It's like so, just another one of those serendipitous things that, like,
Yeah.
the more we focus on doing the next right thing, the more the universe just provides that next door, that next path, that next word, that next person, and and we just keep walking that path of purpose.
Yeah, I think that's one of your taglines, right? Walk with purpose,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. And yeah, I've had a chance to check out some of your stuff and hang out with you all, and so I know how important this mission is to your entire team. And yeah, I'm always grateful to be able to spend any time around you all. And I think it's incredible what you're doing together. So what's the future look like for Red Road? Like, what really is next steps for you guys, and sort of what's the longer term vision? I know it's to get as many people in as possible to help them and their families, but what does that mean, and what does that look like?
We believe in a complete continuum of care. So a continuum of care, right from detox to treatment to transitional housing with wraparound programs, second stage, and to have community care systems to kind of like have a community care center for people to still drop in, and to have that additional resource. So what we had originally thought of was, we were calling them our healing hubs, and we
Oh,
believe that this red road throughout British Columbia, in connection with all the health authorities and in partnership with the local First Nations, is the path forward. And we've already organically kind of started going down that path and pushing forward. And then we got attention to government, and now we're making some headway with the ministries, and we've talked to the Alberta government as well. And we want to take this red road all throughout British Columbia. We want to roll it across the country federally. And if I'm being honest, like, we want to take this thing worldwide. Like, we believe in what we're doing. It's working. And we see huge opportunity and a path forward that we can help so many people. And and then that's even just a piece of it, because like we see the red road, and there's a need for elderly and youth and like all sorts of stuff that we have on our vision. You know, we're very ambitious and we're go-getters and we believe in what we're doing. So I see the Red Road all throughout British Columbia through a full continuum of care, through our healing hubs. Our goal is to have anybody that needs treatment to be in the bed within 2 weeks. That is our goal. Right now,
Yeah.
through our publicly funded beds, you know, the minute we got those funded beds, we had a 6 to 8 month wait list, and
Wow.
that's unacceptable. People are dying every day,
Oh,
and I'm not okay with that. So
that,
we're going to keep pushing, and we're never going to stop.
yeah, that's worth mentioning again here for all of the listeners. Like, so you kick this thing off. You get some funded beds, and it was how long? 6 to 8 months. Is that correct? Waitlist.
So the second we got the funded beds,
Yeah.
we never, not a single marketing campaign, not a single social media post, purely word of mouth. Within 3 weeks, we had a 6 or 7 month wait list.
That is
And that's with no advertising. That's just word of mouth. If I were to start a marketing campaign to put it out there, which now it's kind of getting out there more, but you know, now we've got a 10-month waiting list for, and it's just, it's a huge problem. We have a solution. We need more involvement from government, which we thankfully are finally making some headway with that, but it's not enough. But it's a start. It's a start, and I'm grateful for the start. But you know, we've got a robust plan that can absolutely make a huge difference. But we need more government involvement. We need more MLAs. We need more people on boots on the ground. You know, coming together and just, you know, presenting a united front of, you know, this is the problem and this is the solution, and if we all work together, we can actually make a difference that's sustainable and that will work long term.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you said it, but the most important thing here is there's people that need this. There's people that want this, and there's people who are dying simply because they don't have access to a program that you're offering, and I find it hard to believe. I'm not going to go into a political rant here on this one, but I find it hard to believe in our country, with all the prosperity and wealth. I know that also brings with it some of the complications that we face in society, but also the fact that there's that kind of a wait list for people, and this has touched both of our lives personally. But I just think of all the families and the people who are out there suffering, and I'm so grateful that you guys are doing this. So, how many beds do you have right now in total, and what's the plan? I know that you guys are expanding quite quickly, so kind of out for the next few months, where will you be?
Yeah, so we currently have 50 beds. We're just in the midst of upping that occupancy, so we'll be at 57 beds in the next 2 months, 60 days. We'll be up to 57 beds. That's at our three locations in the Shuswap and the Okanagan. Terrace is another 12 beds that'll be up and running in January, and then we've got another second stage with 12 beds in Terrace. So, and then Williams Lake will be another 35 beds total. So our network, I'd say by end of Q1 of next year, will have increased by 60, 70, 80, 90. We'll be up to 110 beds, including
Wow.
the second stage. Yeah.
Wow, incredible growth, and yeah, congratulations on that. I know it's not easy to scale a business, any business that quickly. It comes with its own set of challenges, and also, I mean, you just can't get these things built quick enough to really have the impact that you really want to have, which is helping to save lives, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that you talk about is secondary treatment or secondary care, and that was something I hadn't ever really thought about at all. I knew a need for it because I too went through treatment and ended up going out after, and then got into the program, thankfully, and it's been a long time since I've taken a drink, but that secondary care is something that I think is maybe a greater need as well than is maybe overlooked. More from the primary perspective.
Yeah, no, it's what comes after treatment is vital, right? Treatment is your introduction to recovery, right? What comes next is vital because a lot of times people, they'll leave treatment, and if they're going back to the same toxic environment with the same triggers and the same like everything, like the statistics, they're not going to do very well. Aftercare can alleviate some of that, But second stage housing, transitional housing with wraparound programs, is significantly increases the success rates. And having a full continuum of care where someone can come in the door to detox, seamlessly go to treatment for 3 months, and then go into second stage housing where they can stay for 6 months to a year and really focus on the life skills. Now you've addressed the addiction and substance misuse, and now you can focus your attention on what's next. Because like for me, it was like I got sober, and then it was like, now what?
Yeah.
Right. And 4 to 5 times I went back to what I was doing, and I crashed and burned. Right. It was the time that I stayed and I focused on what was next, and I started over. Not everybody has to start over career wise, but they do need purpose. Right. And they do need a healthy environment to focus their energy on and to keep themselves safe as they focus on what the next steps are. So second stage housing, huge thing, and it is absolutely significantly increases the success, and it just gives people the best chance possible at success. And we're even working on third stage, where it's like literally going from second stage to a third stage, where it's primarily just focusing on job training, really
Hmm.
getting people certified in different industries. And one big thing that Red Road is a believer in is helping people find their purpose. So we did create a fund that with our alumni that go through the continuum of care, and they get that 1 year of sobriety under their belt. We will provide some funding for them if they want to follow in our footsteps, to go and acquire some training, some certification. We provide practicums within our centers to get them certified as addictions workers or counselors. And once the certifications are in place, then we will hire them and bring them into the fold and grow the Red Road family. So not only are we helping them find their purpose, but it helps us with our expansion, because then we can actually be providing the staff, building up the staff as we help people with their purpose. So
Yeah, well, I think that's incredible, and the way that you guys are looking at this holistically, all the way through to that, with the three different the three different ways to take people from primary all the way through to helping them with life skills and careers, and then offering that opportunity to go and get the training and some of the certifications required to go in and really follow a path similar to yours. I mean, you
yeah.
obviously did this. You invested assuming you invested your own time, money, and energy into getting the education that you did to help support you on this path. But what an incredible thing to be able to do that, and a lot of foresight, I think, on your guys' part to really put that as part of your business model.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. Yeah, it's we believe it. We see it working. We have some alumni that have gone through our program that have a couple years under their belt, and they've gotten the schooling, they've done the practicums, and they work at our centers. And
Yeah,
it's amazing, right?
yeah,
And
that
and
is.
and what better message when they work with clients and they can share, like, hey, like, I not only do I understand, but like, I am you. I was literally in your shoes in one of these centers. you
Yeah,
know, it's
yeah.
it's beautiful. I
That's-
absolutely love it. I love the stories. I love talking to our alumni. I put myself out there all the time, so I get calls. I love hearing from our past alumni, and it's like a family. We're growing the Red Road family, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you're remarkably good at that, and I know the interaction that you have with everybody who goes through there, and how open you to being accessible to them and to your staff, and it comes from a place of understanding and genuine care. And I often say, and you're in a business where I think it's the center of it, but I often say that caring is a competitive advantage, and sadly so in business, actually, that by caring more you can have a better business. But in your business, it's centric to everything, like it and it is the foundation for why you even did what you did and decided to go down this road and to kick off Red Road Recovery. So you guys exemplify that and are proving that caring is a competitive advantage, and that you can do good to do good. And I think that's remarkable.
I couldn't agree more. It's I'm a big believer at you get what you put out, right? And we've had those forks in the road sometimes where it's tough decisions to make, and then we just take a look at it. I'll repeat it one more time:
Yeah.
of how can we help more people,
Yeah.
When that answer is clear, well, the path to help more people is this way, but it might be a little scarier going that way, but that's the right way. We go that way, and then the right door is open, and then we're like, oh yeah, this is the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Every time we do that.
Yeah. And yeah, I understand, you know, that you guys can get in a room and really kind of hash some things out. I also know this, Scott, or I shouldn't say I know this because I don't really, but I believe, I mean, you have a really interesting mindset and perspective on life. And I know that you have a belief that if you throw something out to the universe and you move towards it, that it happens. And so how has that helped, you know, shape your reality personally and with Red Road? Like just that mindset that you do have, and you know, some of the things that you do in a daily practice to you know, change your or create your reality, maybe is the right way to ask.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in manifestation and energy in the universe, and I read a lot of books. And those are just like the books I read daily, right? And it's I just I really I put my focus into learning, and how can I learn more about the fabric of existence and how energy works and how the universe works. And I'm fascinated with the quantum field and manifestation and writing out. I got vision boards, and I got things on my this you know on my wall right now that I read every day and I keep present in my mind. And I believe in all that because I'm literally watching it unfold every day. And I don't think that's any accident. I think I'm not unique by any way, shape, or form. I think this is available to anyone. I think anyone can do this. I think it just comes from a place of thought and emotion. Right? It's like everything starts with a thought, and when we connect emotion to it and we put it out there, it has no other way than to manifest. So I believe it, I live it, and I will continue to utilize it.
I love that you said that. I'm a big believer in manifestation as well, and have some of the similar practices to what you're talking about. And I believe, and I say this often, and I can't remember if it was Bob Proctor or somebody coined it, but abundance is your birthright. And this is open,
Yeah.
and the universe has an abundance to give. And oftentimes I believe that, and certainly in my case, you know, I limited it. And I didn't actually understand that I was creating my reality all the time. And when my reality sucked, it was because I was creating it, which was a really hard thing for me to accept, by the way. And when I learned that thinking affects my emotions, and my emotions affect my outcomes, or my actions. And I was like, wow, you know, I can change my thinking to change my life. And I the reason I asked you is because I believe that, and I know, you know, a bit about some of that because you've shared it with me. But I think that's really important for the listeners to hear, because you have accomplished, like, from where you were to where you are. Like, you know, I didn't know you before, but I certainly can imagine that there's a big gap in not only what you've accomplished in terms of your career and success in business, but just how you've grown as a person from that time till now is probably a pretty big gap.
It's a huge gap, and I'm a big believer in when I'm not learning and growing, I'm going backwards.
Yeah,
So
that's
there
interesting.
there is no there is no neutral for me. It's either forward or backwards. So I understand that now, and I think there's a quote that says, like, in every boy's life he reaches a point where he realizes that nobody's coming to save you.
Huh.
And it's up to me, right?
Yeah,
So I understand that today, and I make sure that I'm always moving forward because I know that the moment I stop moving forward, I'm moving backwards.
awesome. Thank you so much. I want to ask you something about Red Road, and then I'm going to ask you a question. But what? So not a question about Red Road, but what is one thing that you would like to just, you know, do a shout out to all the listeners, and everybody's going to hear this, about Red Road, and, you know, one thing that you'd like to just them to really know about what it is, and what you're all about.
I'll just speak to everybody out there that just if you're struggling uh, and you're by yourself and you don't know if there's a way out or not, you are not alone. You've never been alone. You'll never be alone. And there's always people here and ready when you are. All you need to do is be willing.
Goof. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, that stuff touches my heart too, man. So here's the last question. At Lean Into Lead, we want to get to the hearts of humanity, and you just did, by the way. And so thank you. I love that. What is the most meaningful piece of wisdom you would give to your kids, grandkids, or loved ones about life?
Ooh. You know, there's so many pieces. It's like, from a business perspective, it's like, I love this one quote that says, success is 99% failure. And, it's definitely, do so much work that's unreasonable to fail. Right. It's like, I think that's an Alex Hormozi
Yeah.
quote. Right. And
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. And it just really comes down to, what I said about, like, in every person's life, it comes the moment where you realize that nobody's coming to save you. So none of us are alone. And I think that the opposite of addiction is connection. And together we can do anything.
That's incredible. I haven't heard that before, actually. The opposite of addiction is connection. Huh.
Yeah, because it's like, we've always been, I've always thought that, like, opposite of addiction is sobriety, but it's not. It's connection, right? Because what happens is we become disconnected. We come disconnected from ourselves, from our family, from Mother Nature, from the universe. And it's like, where true recovery starts to grow is through connection to each other, to self, to the real self, connection to the universe, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, the energy force that is part of and is all of us, right?
Yeah.
I believe we are part of one energy force. And once we reconnect to that and to each other and to a greater purpose, that's where magic happens.
Oh, man. I love this. Literally, I could probably talk to you for 17 hours straight, Scott. We could just keep doing this for a couple of days in a row. We do have to wrap up here. But thank you so much, for not only coming in and, sharing about Red Road and what you're doing, but also for being so open. And really, I know that this is going to touch hearts and it's going to have an impact on human beings, and that's what this podcast and this show is all about. And so, thank you so much for coming on to Lean Into Lead. I would like to, how do people get a hold of you? So, if there's some folks out there who just want to learn more, get to know you better, learn more about the Red Road, or find a way to contact you and your team, what's the best way?
Best way, go to our website, just redroadrecovery.com. There's tons of information and ways to get a hold of us. And if you want to reach out to me directly, my email is Scott, SCOTT, at redroadrecovery.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you, Trevor. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you as well. And I do know on my favorite platform, and I'm giving him a free plug here, is I like Facebook too because I got lots of friends on there. But from LinkedIn's a good one, and I know that you're hanging out on there as well. And
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, you're all over the place. Scott's easy to find, and that's a good thing. And yeah, you mean a lot to me as well. And certainly, you're part of my heart, buddy. And so thank you again for doing this. To all the listeners out there, please listen to this. And when you do, we'd like you to comment and please share it with your network. This is a message that needs to get out all around the world. And thank you so much for listening to Lean Into Lead, and love you all.
Thank you, brother.